Good morning. We are starting things off with some breaking news this Monday morning. One lane of Division Street is back open after a fire started in downtown Spokane earlier this morning. Now, this is a live look at the scene. As you can see, there are still several fire trucks there in the area after that fire broke out at that apartment just above the bar and pub right there. Now, the fire started in the apartments above the Red Lion pub. Thankfully, no one was injured. The fire is now under investigation. And again, as you can see, crews are still on the scene there. So if you have to drive in this area, consider thinking about an alternate route this morning. We'll continue to update you with the very latest on this situation here on Up with Krim, as well as our website, krim.com. Now let's get right over to the forecast with Cody Proctor. She's filling in this morning for meteorologist Thomas Patrick. And Cody, you were telling us about some very hot weather that is headed our way.
Oh, very hot indeed. So I'm actually looking at a fan over there off screen that I might be grabbing during commercial break to bring over here to the weather center, because take a look at our current temperatures right now at the Spokane airport. 66 degrees to get us started for your Monday morning. Winds coming out of the east at 3 miles per hour. So that's not really helping us at all this morning. Across our region, Wenatchee is now at 69 degrees. Earlier, just about 15 minutes ago, was in the low 70s. 59 for you, Coeur d'Alene this morning, 54 for Sandpoint to get you started. Here's what we're keeping track of: these excessive heat watches and warnings. That excessive heat warning goes into effect today at 11 a.m. for the Cascades right there and much of the surrounding area. An excessive heat watch for parts of eastern Washington into the Panhandle of Idaho. That goes into effect tomorrow morning. Both of those looking to stay with us through Friday evening. So it's going to be a hot one and staying hot for several days. Meanwhile, as we continue to move on the next 12 hours, it's still going to be warm today, moving up into about the mid-90s for your forecast with plenty of sunshine expected. And then for the next 3 days, we could be moving up into those low triple digits potentially by a Wednesday. But as we check in with our temperature trend for the next several days, you can see we might be hanging out in those triple digits for a few days. Again, with conditions like this, remember to drink plenty of water. Try to spend time in air-conditioned areas if you're able to, and check in on your neighbors, especially those who are vulnerable. That does include the elderly with pre-existing conditions, as well as neighbors that might not have access to air conditioning. Just be a good neighbor during this time period.
Now this week, the city of Spokane is expected to announce its plan for cooling centers throughout the city. Last year, 20 people in the Spokane area died during an unprecedented heat wave. The city council then enacted new guidelines for cooling centers. So this morning, Krim 2's Malia Kamal is joining us live to explain more about what the city is expected to say regarding these cooling centers. Good morning, Malia.
Good morning, Channing. Yes, I'm at the Numerica Skate Ribbon, and this is one area that will be used as a resource to help folks cool off. Now, I spoke to a spokesperson for the city, and they say that this year's plan will look a lot different than last year's plan. So let me break it down for you. In order for the city to open up its cooling centers, we have to be dealing with extreme heat temperatures. The city goes by the National Weather Service and what they classify as extreme heat. And that's usually when temperatures reach the upper 90s or higher. Over the weekend, the city made an announcement saying that there will be several resources that they will be utilizing as cooling centers. The big chunk of those resources will be the Spokane Public Library. So on your screen right now, you're seeing all the locations that are going to be open to the public and being utilized as a cooling service. We have Central, Shadle Park, Liberty Park, Hilliard, and you see the hours on the screen, right? Then there's also the Spokane Parks and Recreation splash pads and pools. This is a great resource for folks to cool down. And those operational hours are Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And there's also Riverfront Park. There will be water misters, and there will be a water bottle filling station here in the park, roughly where I'm located. Now, Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward also issued a statement saying in summary that she encourages residents to take advantage of all these public spaces and facilities throughout the city to help them cool off. She also would like to ask folks to check in on their neighbors, those vulnerable neighbors that have special needs or that are elderly, just to see how they're doing. In Spokane, Malia Kamal, Krim 2 News.
Well, right now, demand for air conditioning units is up across Washington state. HVAC businesses in the state are fully booked, and companies say that the increase in business actually started last year when temperatures broke records. But this summer, inflation is also playing into the equation.
prices have been raised on everything, so not even for just customers in general, but also for us.
HVAC installation could range from $10,000 to $20,000 depending upon the home's needs. Experts recommend booking now to reserve your spot because there might not be one available soon. And if you have an air conditioning system, here are some ways to cut down on your cooling bill. First up, avoid placing lamps or TVs near your thermostat. That's because your thermostat actually will sense the heat from those appliances, and it can cause the AC to run longer than it actually needs to. Another tip is to turn off ceiling fans when you leave the room. That's because fans cool people, not rooms. Another tip is to seal off doors and windows, and if you can, try and reinforce them by using weather stripping. Now, as the heat arrives, here are 5 tips for beating the heat this week. One tip, close your blinds. This can help keep your home cooler and conserve energy by not letting all of that sunlight in. Another tip is to make sure that your ceiling fan is spinning counterclockwise. This makes the fan push cooler air down in a column. If it's spinning the other way, it's actually blowing a little heat. A ceiling fan spinning in the correct direction has been proven to bring down the temperature in a room 4 degrees. Another tip is to know when to leave the air conditioning on or off when you're gone and to set your thermostat to the right temperature. The ideal temp to cool down and to save money at the same time is 78 degrees. And now if temps get extreme, putting aluminum foil covered cardboard over your windows can actually help reflect the heat and stop rooms from getting too hot. Now, 2 firefighters actually had to be treated for heat exhaustion while responding to a house fire in Spokane just yesterday afternoon. Just before 1 p.m., Spokane fire crews responded to a house fire near Whittier Park. One person was inside at the time of the fire, but thankfully they were able to get out unharmed. Officials say weather conditions made the firefighting process even more difficult.
It took 49 firefighters a little over 45 minutes to bring the fire under control, just due to both the heat conditions and the conditions in the house and surrounding.
Now, crews also had to treat a small brush fire behind the home. Officials say flames actually jumped from the house into a nearby field. That fire was contained quickly, but it did cause a temporary railroad closure. Officials are still investigating what caused the fire, but they also say that the house is a total loss. Well, the Moose Fire, about 20 miles north of the town of Salmon, has now grown to more than 32,000 acres and is still 0% contained. Sadly, 2 people have died fighting that fire. On Thursday, 41-year-old Thomas Haynes of Post Falls, Idaho, and 36-year-old Jarrett Bird of Anchorage, Alaska, were killed when the helicopter they were flying crashed into the Salmon River. Governor Little has ordered flags to fly at half-staff in their honor. The cause of the crash and the cause of the fire itself are still under investigation. Just about 6:09 now, time for your morning rush. Idaho Governor Brad Little will give remarks today for the Western Governors Association annual meeting. The meeting is being held in Coeur d'Alene and will run through most of the week. Today's remarks will be delivered on the front lawn of the Coeur d'Alene Resort at 4:30 p.m. Now, Governor Little will also be taking questions at a press conference tomorrow afternoon. The Spokane Sheriff's Office is still looking for witnesses in a shooting that happened on 5th Avenue near South Havana Street in Spokane Valley earlier this month. Take a look at your screen. Police are looking for the driver of this white Ford Expedition. It has a white ring on the outside of the front passenger side tire with possible damage to the passenger side door. Police believe the people in this car might have information on the shooting that happened July 8th. If you have any information, you're asked to contact Crime Check. Their number is there on your screen. In Chelan County, the body of a missing kayaker has been found almost a month after he went missing. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says that William Henninger was last seen June 25th. Officials say that he was kayaking with a friend on the Wenatchee River when they ran into extremely rough water. Henninger's friend managed to get out of the water, but Henninger went over a waterfall and wasn't seen again. His body was found yesterday about a half a mile downstream from where he was last seen. Well, check this out. A local Idaho man captured potentially the longest meteor shower ever recorded this week. The Perseid meteor shower returned to above Idaho skies. Jordan Ragsdale recorded the meteor shower with his outdoor camera for 27 seconds. Now, he said this is incredibly rare for a glimpse of a meteor because they usually burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. And some big news for the Spokane Indians. They now have a new mascot cheering them on during their games. Meet KC. He's an airplane modeled after the KC-135 tanker. KC arrived in support of the Operation Fly Together campaign, stemming from a historical agreement between Fairchild Air Force Base and the Spokane Indians. Now, if you'd like to meet Casey in person, he'll be at tonight's game, and that's a look at your morning rush. Well, a new plan to move Spokane's homeless population into alternative housing is in the works. The city of Spokane submitted a $24 million proposal to move people who live at the homeless encampments. Of the proposal locations is the Quality Inn on Sunset Boulevard. The state recently awarded $6.5 million to Catholic Charities to buy the hotel. Some say it's a good idea, but others have concerns about the relocation efforts.
So I'm glad to hear that they're doing something about it. I'm not too worried about it at all. I think that it'll be in a controlled environment, which is better than them just being on the street.
Most of the people the city expects to offer these relocation services to are from the homeless encampment near Freya and I-90. That homeless encampment now has over 600 residents. The Quality Inn can house around 100 to 120 people.